Hey guys, I am recording this episode in my very, very, very fancy studio, my podcasting studio, which is my bedroom, because I've been relegated to the bedroom because we have a new addition in our house who now has my office, and her name is Layla. That's my daughter, who at the time of this recording is a little bit over 1 week old. And so, yes, my wife and I are brand new parents. And I thought when I had a few minutes here that I could record a podcast about where I see the parallels in being a parent and being a business owner, being an entrepreneur and leading people or leading your kids, and my experience so far. Now, I say this in the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to say it right now. I am not one of those people who does something for a week and all of a sudden becomes a guru on it. So don't think for a second that I'm giving parenting advice, because I'm not that naive or that big of a jerk to think after 8 days of being a parent that I've got it all figured out. Simply what I'm doing is sharing my thoughts and experience and, how I've related it to something that I do know a little bit better, which is business. And so far, I've been able to draw on my experience as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a leader, and how I've handled that and some of the lessons I've learned and how I've taken it into being a parent. So I hope this is valuable to you. I think even if you aren't a parent, there's a lot of lessons here that you can draw upon, whether that is in your future or not, because at the end of the day, the skills I don't think change that much: leadership, communication, handling stress and adversity. I genuinely believe it's many of the same characteristics. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll talk to you soon. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business School for the Rehab Chiropractor. Class is officially in session. My name is Justin Rabinowitz, and I am a rehab chiropractor on a mission to teach you, a fellow rehab chiropractor, the exact tools and systems I've used to build my own successful rehab chiropractic practice so you can do the same. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe. So I don't have much planned for today. I don't have notes or anything, but I thought that potentially this would be a good opportunity to share with you some of the lessons that I've learned over the past few weeks. At the time of this recording, the baby is officially a little over a week old, and I think, if I can sort of share with you my experience about anything else, then maybe it can be valuable and potentially how it relates to business. I'm going to say it in the intro. I'm going to say it now. I'm not one of those people that becomes a guru after doing something for a week, like the business coaches out there. You run a business for a week and then coach other people how to do a business. I'm not naive enough to think that being a parent for a week qualifies me to give other people parenting advice. That being said, all I'm going to do is share my experience and some of my observations so that hopefully it helps you guys maybe be able to relate a little bit better. So, one of the things for me that in business or in life is I'm always trying to draw on previous lessons or lessons I've learned in other aspects, and then I try to translate them into other things that I'm doing. And the first thing for me to think about is this idea that before the baby came, so many people, they looked at my wife and I, and they're like, "Are you guys nervous? You guys don't look nervous. You don't look really nervous about it." And we both sort of had the same answer, which was, people tell us what to do, what to expect, but neither of us are smart enough or we're not naive enough to think we have any clue. And so rather than worry about something that we don't even know is going to happen or what's going to happen, we just sort of learned as much as we could. We observed the world around us. We took advice from people, and then we waited for it to happen, because until it happened, until the baby was here, so to speak, anything more than just waiting would have been creating anxiety that is unnecessary. The lesson for me there is actually going back to when I was in chiropractic school. Before you start any sort of professional school, chiropractic, medical, dental, people will tell you how hard it's going to be. They'll tell you that it's going to be challenging and you're going to study a lot and it's a lot of hours. And as I look back on that experience in school, it didn't matter how much people told me until I was actually in it and experienced it. I couldn't have understood, and I shouldn't have tried. And so the lesson for me here is the same thing with parenting, looking back on all the things people told me, or the lack of sleep, or the baby crying, or all these things that I didn't even try to anticipate what it was going to be like or feel like, because I knew I wouldn't be able to understand it until I was actually in it. And so if we take that one step further, think about you and your business, or maybe if you're out there potentially in school, or if you're an associate and you're thinking about opening up your own business. People can tell you all the time. They can tell you about what's going to happen and how you're going to feel, and they're going to tell you what to expect. But my experience just in life is that until you're actually in it, it's really hard to know. It's really hard to know. And I think beyond that, if we go really deep and sort of take this another layer deep, is sometimes if we listen to the noise around us, we create the situation that people told us should happen. And so one of the things that I think about is what people tell me, if that's normal, why does it have to be that way? Right? Why does it have to be that way? So think about owning a business for a second. People are going to tell you it's more stress than you've ever dealt with. It's crazy. You don't know what's going on. All these different things they might tell you. And if you believe it, you're going to find it. But what if you could turn it into one of the most fun times of your life, one of the best challenges you've ever got, one of the most gratifying things that ever happened to you? All of a sudden, we've created a new narrative around it. And one of the things I think about blocking the noise out around you is so that you can sort of create your own experience. One of the things I hate more than anything is people in life that are like, oh, just wait for this to happen. Here's what's going to be like. And I always think to myself, that was your experience. And so being a business owner, oh, it's so stressful. It's the most stressful thing on earth. Oh, when you have employees, they're terrible. All these different things, that's what other people have told me. If you want my opinion of it now, as I look back on the last decade of my life or 15 years of my life, there was significantly more stress for me when I was in chiropractic school. That was my experience. Other people I know, they loved school. That was the best. They were good students. That was easy to them. And then coming out and running a business and owning a business, this is significantly more stressful. And I don't think one is right or wrong, and I don't think one is better than the other. But experience is not shared in that way. Experience is individual. And so people that tell me, oh, having staff, they're so stressful and they're horrible and all these type of things, that is not my experience. Maybe for some other people that is. And so as we take it back and think about the lessons of learning, I think it's good to listen to people. I think it's good to hear people. But just be careful with the experience that you've sort of adapted or adopted to because of someone else's experience in the situation. My belief is, whether it's business or life or personal life, is you should create your own experience. And that I think for all of us, we shouldn't worry so much about what other people's conclusion of our experience could be. And let's create our own experience. Because influence from your parents, from your spouse, from your mentors is great. It's fine. But it's not your individual experience. The next thing, looking at, it's for you parents out there, you're going to laugh, right? You take the baby home for the first day, they leave you with this child, and you literally have no clue what's going to happen. So the first night we get home, my wife and I, it's 3 a.m, and like so many times happens, the baby is crying. You don't really know why. You don't know what to do. You're trying to feed the baby and she doesn't want to eat, and all these different things. There's tons of emotions. They're scared. There's tons of things happening. And the bottom line is, as I looked at the situation we were in, as stressful as it was, I stopped and I thought, we're going to figure this out. This isn't easy, but we're going to be just fine. And again, how do I relate that to business? Well, If you think for 1 minute that you're going to open up a business, you're not going to have a similar experience, that like you're going to look at it one day and be like, what the hell did I get myself into? This is freakishly stressful. I don't know where the next patient's going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to pay myself. I don't know all of these different things. I don't know how to hire someone. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Well, you're going to have that same experience owning and running a business. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're mistaken. And so what if we just thought about, hey, this is part of the experience. It's part of being a parent. It's like the idea of, for me, being a parent right now is I'm not putting that much pressure on myself because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't. I've never done it before. I've been a parent for 7 days. And so to think that I have it all figured out and I know what to do at all times and I'm going to always know the answer is completely crazy. It's completely crazy. But what about you and your business? How can you relate that to yourself owning a rehab chiropractic practice? When you run a marketing campaign and it doesn't work and it's the first one you've run, rather than beating yourself up like I don't know how to do marketing, when it's like I never did this before. And if you learn from it and grow, eventually you will get better. I feel like there's a lesson there for all of us. There's got to be a lesson there for all of us, so long as we're looking for it. One of the lessons that I taught my mastermind a few weeks ago about business, about parenting, is the word grace. Giving yourself grace. So let's talk about being a business owner. When you open your business, you've never owned a business before. You're going to screw a lot of things up. You don't know the answer most of the time. Give yourself grace. It doesn't mean it's okay to screw up. It doesn't mean you should keep making the same mistake. But don't be so damn hard on yourself, because then it leads to negative self-talk. Then it leads to a lack of ownership of the business, in the sense of, you're going to start punting on things because you're just not good at them. Well, that's not true. You're not good at a lot of things until you do it over and over and over again. So give yourself some grace, just like as a parent. Of course, when the baby cries, I don't really know what's going on. Of course I don't. How would I? I've never done it before. People can tell me all they want, but have a little grace. I'm going to figure it out. I promise you that. Just like in business, I'm going to figure it out. I promise. Something else to think about. As much as you anticipate, as much as you plan, you're never going to know until you're in it. And so in business, we do annual planning, we do quarterly planning, we have meetings all the time. And the idea of the plan is to make sure that you're doing the planning. Let me say that again. The idea of the plan is to make sure that you're doing the planning. I don't ever expect the business to run exactly how we planned for it. This is great with parenting, right? The plan is at 6 a.m. we're going to do a feeding. It's going to go till 6:30, and then we're going to put the baby down, and then we're going to go and do X, Y, and Z. That's a great plan. As we know, oftentimes it doesn't work out that way. And rather than being upset or frustrated or annoyed or anxious about the fact that the plan didn't go as well, it's just, all right, now we adapt and we create a new one. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's still good to have a plan. And sometimes, on the rare occasion, maybe it does go exactly how you planned it to go in your business. And maybe sometimes, as a parent, it does go exactly according to plan. But as a general rule, it won't. And that's okay. That's okay. And the last thing. As soon as you think you have it figured out, something's going to change. As soon as you think you have it figured out, something's going to change. We find this all the time in business. We find a problem, we fix the problem, and then there's another problem. We fix that problem, we run its course for a little while, and then there's another problem. And so we say in business that once you solve one problem, you've created a new problem. So let's just say you have a marketing problem in business. You can't get enough people to, raise their hand that they're interested in your services. So you go and fix the marketing problem and you get all these new leads and they raise their hand. Well, what's going to happen next? You're going to create a sales problem, because now you've got more people calling that potentially are colder leads. And if they're colder leads, they're going to be harder to get across the line. And so you solve one problem and created a new problem. right? We always say in business, it's not a game of being devoid of problems. It's a game of which problem do you want? Which problem do you want? So, as so many of you know that have kids out there, as soon as you think you figured it out, you're going to create another problem, right? As soon as you sort of figure out the first problem, another problem will arise. The term for that in parenting is, as I've heard, is called regressions, right? You get the kids sleeping, you get them eating on a schedule, and then they get to potentially 3 to 4 months, and all of a sudden things change again. As soon as you thought you had it figured out, it goes back the other way. And so, as I joke, but as I, tell people, why would it be any other way? Why would it be any other way? And if you can come to it with a little bit of humor of like, oh yeah, of course, as soon as I thought I had it figured out, and as soon as things were going to be normal, it's going to go back the other direction. As soon as you think you've got it with two of your employees, one of them quits. As soon as you think you figured out sales and conversion, someone doesn't book and ask for a refund. This is the way it is, guys. This is the way it is. I think about this all the time. I'm very open and honest in our businesses and what I share with our mastermind members. And so, think about it from my perspective as a coach now for business owners. There's pressure on me, so to speak, because everyone's sort of looking at me and looking at us. But I've always been very clear with the people that I coach, like, we do not have it all figured out. Under no circumstance would I ever come to you and think like we've got it like figured out and we are not devoid of problems. I mean, I think that would be one of the worst things that I could do for my mastermind members, is to think that we have it perfectly figured out at all times. And so the pressure on me, it sort of goes away, because part of my coaching and part of what we do in our program is to help people recognize that, even for us who coach and teach these type of things, we are dealing with stuff and problems every single day. And I think that the thing will make us as an organization, as a coaching program, is not that we don't have problems. It's that our attitude on how we go about solving them, and to recognize that, yep, it's going to be shitty. It's not going to be great all the time. But how are we going to overcome the adversity that faces us? And one of the things I'm most proud of in our organization is that every time like shit has hit the proverbial fan, we have figured it out. We have figured it out, which is a great trait. How does that relate to being a parent? I mean, I'd imagine when your baby is lying on you and they're sleeping and they're making cute noises and they're looking at you, being a parent is really easy. It's really easy. It's like, oh man, this is amazing. Anybody could do that. That's why you sign up to be a parent in the first place, right? Wrong. As a parent, you essentially get paid when it's the other way. When the baby is screaming at 3 a.m, when you can't get them to feed, when they talk back to you when they get older, when they face an adverse situation, when they watch how you communicate with your spouse and your family and they model that. That's what you get paid for. All the times when it isn't good. The term in business and in life is wartime versus peacetime general. It's easy to be a peacetime general as a parent. When things are good, things are good. Easy. Anyone could do that. But that's not what you get paid for. As a business owner, as a parent, as an employee, as an employer, you get paid to figure it out when it isn't. And so what if we leaned into some of that adversity? What if we looked at it as a challenge of where we're going to sort of build our mettle and build our chops in ourselves and our business? What about we can look at the shitty times in our business and our parenting life and say, all right, this is why I'm doing this. And this is the challenge that I face. And if I can overcome this, man, I could overcome anything. Because each time you do that, you built another notch in your belt, which over time will build confidence in parenting, in life, in your business, as an owner, all of these different things. And so what if we embrace the challenges that we're going to face? Because when we do overcome them, we are going to be better off. Our kid will be better off. Our business will be better off for it. And I think that's where I want to finish it off today. If you're a business owner out there, if you're a parent out there, change the way you see it. When there are hard times, when things are crazy, when things are stressful, change the way you see it. There's a piece of you that should be a little excited, that should be a little happy that you're about to face a challenge and you will overcome it and there will be lessons to learn. And everyone involved around you will be better off for it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you found this content valuable, here are 4 ways I can help you for free. 1, grab a copy of my free guide, The Rehab Chiropractor's Checklist. You can get that at go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. That's go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. 2, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at Justin Rabinowitz, where I post business content. 3, subscribe to my weekly newsletter by sending me an email at coaching@strivetomove.com. And 4, leave us a 5-star review so we can gain access to more influential people and bring those lessons back to you.